Hello, athletes and fans of bodybuilding. Tarek El Guindy with the Mr. Olympia. I'm just coming back from Pittsburgh, and it was epic, incredible. Guys, when Nick Walker and Derek Lunsford were posing in the final moments of the finals, the energy was unmatched. I felt like I was in a Baltimore Ravens versus Pittsburgh Steelers conference finals. It was insane. One of the best, most memorable moments in bodybuilding. I don't think we'll ever forget this show. Congratulations once again to the president, Jim Manion, Vice President Tyler Manion. He took a lot of responsibility on the expo, and the expo was phenomenal. Thousands and thousands of people there. Robin Chang, as always, flawless on the execution. Great show. Let's get down to business. Derek Lunsford prevails. He wins the show. I think Derek Lunsford looked pretty much the same as the Arnold. Maybe he was a little bit tighter at the Arnold, but I was impressed. When he came in, I said, this is one of the greatest bodybuilders. This is a Mr. Olympia. This is an Arnold Classic champion. He has a fullness to him. The chest, the arms. He still has that beautiful V-taper. And the back double biceps is insane. Then we have Nick Walker. That was one of his best looks ever. A lot of people said maybe this look, maybe the look that he won the Arnold. What I think that most people do not pay attention is when you close the gap on poses that previously you were defeated by a lot. And I'm going to give you an example. Derek Lunsford has the best back double biceps in the show. But in this event, Nick Walker closed the gap. Maybe he didn't beat Derek Lunsford, but this time Derek didn't win that pose by a lot. In the side triceps, which is one of the best poses by Nick Walker, Derek Lunsford did not lose that pose by a lot. He improved his posing. In addition to that, his fullness to the chest and triceps. That got him to be closer. Did he beat him? No, I don't think so. There are some poses like front double biceps, back double biceps, where we can see the beautiful X-frame of Derek Lunsford. And there are some poses for Nick Walker, the most muscular, and the side chest, where we can see that nobody can beat Nick Walker. And that's why it was so close. Derek Lunsford has beautiful lines. Nick Walker has more mass. Derek Lunsford has unbeatable poses, back double biceps. Nick Walker has a most muscular that could be considered one of the greatest most muscular of all times. Derek prevailed in the end. But we had some judges that voted for Nick Walker winning the show. The reality is that they're both winners. Derek Lunsford wins the Arnold Classic, wins the Pittsburgh Pro, and carries a lot of momentum for the Olympia. Nick Walker put on a show. He told everybody, I've always been here. I never left. And now all of us have to think, if this guy was in the Mr. Olympia the previous 2 years, where would he place? Because this is the second time he beats Martin Fitzwater. And Martin Fitzwater placed fourth. Guys, this Derek Lunsford that basically Nick Walker tied is a lot better than the Derek Lunsford that placed second to Hadi Choopan. Guys, you have to take in consideration that Nick Walker is a contender to win the Mr. Olympia. I repeat, this is a four-headed monster. Samson Dauda, Hadi Choopan, Derek Lunsford, and Nick Walker. Anybody can win. We know history. But now we have a four-headed monster. Nick Walker has shown the world, I can be Mr. Olympia. His performance was incredible. And remember, Derek Lunsford just came out of the Olympia where he placed third. And most people said he is done. He will never win again. In his resume right now, he's got the Arnold and the Pittsburgh Pro. Hadi Choopan and Samson Dauda have to bring their best because these two guys are peaking. Nobody would be surprised if any of them become Mr. Olympia in 2025. Martin Fitzwater, talking about lines, he might have the most beautiful lines at the Pittsburgh Pro. Man, the tiny waist, the quads are flaring. He looks awesome. Maybe a little bit tighter, maybe a little bit darker on the tanning. Martin Fitzwater is one of the best. Do I think there was a gap between him, Nick, and Derek? Yes. But I think that there wouldn't be that much of a gap if he had presented the physique he brought at the Olympia. Martin needs to beat one of these guys. He can beat everybody in the world, but he now needs to beat Samson Dauda, Derek Lunsford, Nick Walker, and Hadi Choopan to join the party. And I believe he can. What can you say about William Bonac? I mean, it was just last year at the lobby at the Olympia where William Bonac said, well, I might not be at my best, boss. I don't know, maybe a few years ago I was speaking. I think he was lying to me. William Bonac is insane, guys. He looked incredible. I mean, when they brought the 4 competitors, he had some poses that maybe he beat some of those guys. William Bonac is dangerous. He's an incredible poser. He knows his physique, and I think he's getting a second win in his career. I don't think it would be surprising to anybody if Bonac was in the top 5. Overall, it was an incredible, incredible bodybuilding show. It was epic. The energy was unmatched. We are not going to forget this event for a long time. I want to commend every single competitor that was there. Not only the guys that placed in the top 5 and everybody loves them, but the guys that went in there and they made their pro debut. There was a lot of guys that they said, you know what? This is going to be a crazy lineup, but I don't care. I'm going to do this show. I'm going to pose next to Nick Walker, next to Derek Lunsford. And I want to commend these guys. The lineup was amazing. Congratulations. In the classic physique, Terrence Ruffin, beautiful lines. I don't think we've seen better lines in classic physique than Terrence Ruffin. He's a master poser. His conditioning was perfect, and he was able to contain Josema, who carries a whole lot of muscle, and he was conditioned to the bone. Now, Josema poses well, but he needs to continue to minimize his waist because that's his only glaring weakness. If he can minimize his waist, he can start beating some of these guys. Terrence Ruffin looked amazing, but ironically enough, at the guest posing, he looked a bit fuller. And that was a better look because now he doesn't get overpowered that much by some of these bigger guys. Terrence Ruffin is back on the mix, and I think he can be the Classic Physique Olympia champion. Let's take a look at some of the other guys, but Terrence is back. In the men's physique, Aaron Banks, one of his best looks. He posed with great power. The back, the small waist, the chest was full. One of the best performances by Aaron Banks. But mentally, Aaron Banks is now a better competitor. And he said it himself, I'm more focused. I know who I am, and I know what I want to represent. A guy with that physique and with this mentality is a contender to win any show, including the Olympia, something he has done. Everybody should be watching for Aaron Banks. Ryan Terry was right there. Ali Bilal was right there. And they have to look at Aaron Banks and say, wow, he is dangerous. Moving on to the ladies, Amy Delgado, 3-time Pittsburgh Pro champion. 3 times. She is incredible. I remember her turning pro at the USA's Blue Bikini. She looked amazing. She gained size throughout the years. She developed muscle. She's a master poser. She knows her body and she knows the stage. Just like Martin Fitzwater. She needs to beat Laura Lee Chapados. She needs to beat Jennifer Dory. She needs to beat some of those girls that have won the Olympia to really cement herself. And I think she can do that. She can threaten the title and take it away from Laura Lee Chapados, who was there doing the commentary. And I know she's concerned about Amy Delgado. She's coming with a vengeance. Moving on to wellness, Valkyria Lopez. Man, we're getting a second wave of wellness Brazilian competitors. This is scary, guys, scary. First we had Franciele Matos, Isa Pereira. Now we're getting a second wave of Eduarda Bezerra and Valkyria Lopez. Look at the glutes, full glutes. She has great posing. She looked incredible. And now her name is on the list as one of the contenders to win the Olympia. I think she was just a bit nervous on stage. I had a chance to talk to her and I said, listen, I understand, it's overwhelming. You're winning one of the big shows, but now you're one of the favorites. At the Olympia, you have to wear the jersey that you're the best in the world. And if she does that, watch out. We can have a new Brazilian wellness champion. Moving on to maybe the best genetics in bodybuilding, okay? I'm gonna go on record and say this might be the best genetic in bodybuilding. Lola Montez. Guys, look at the waist. Look at the V-taper. Look at the roundness. I think Lola Montez is a freak of nature. You gotta put her in that category of Sydney Gillen. You gotta put her in the category of Latoya Watts as one of the most gifted human beings in bodybuilding. And Jessica Reyes Padilla, who's the Masters Olympia champion, who placed second at the Olympia, has to be going crazy because Lola Montez downsized a little bit. And that makes her even more dangerous in terms of the criteria. That was the feedback. You need to reduce a little bit of the muscularity. She was perfect on the feedback. She wins the show convincingly. And now she's set to battle Jessica Reyes Padilla for the Olympia title. I'm not missing that for anything in the world. Moving on to the women's physique, Natalia Coelho. Best ever. I don't care what anybody says. I don't even care what Natalia Coelho says. When she won the Olympia, she didn't look as good as she did at the Pittsburgh. This was perfect. This was flawless. I was trying to find something to give feedback to her, but there was nothing. My feedback to Natalia Coelho is do exactly the same you did in Pittsburgh. That was her best. I've been judging Natalia Coelho since she was a teenager and she was in figure. And this was a flawless performance. There's no feedback. The only feedback I would give Natalia Coelho is you're going to face Sarah Viegas and you need to bring the same physique. Sarah Viegas was right there on stage. She gave her the award. This is going to be a battle for the ages. You cannot miss. These two will collide at the 2025 Mr. Olympia. The Pittsburgh Pro was epic. We had battles. We had moments we're never going to forget. The internet is going crazy. The buzz is unreal. Bodybuilding is at the highest. You have your favorites. You love Derek. You love Samson. You love these guys and you have your favorites. In the guest posing, what can you say about Keon Pearson? Guys, I talked to him backstage. I said, Keon, I know you want to win 212 titles, but my man, you can start winning pro open shows right now. He is incredible. Look at him posing next to some of these big guys. He has a density to his physique and he still has the small waist. I believe he should go to the open. Samson Dauda looked massive, man. When he opens his arms like this, I go, this is crazy. This guy is from another world. He's massive. The legs. In the side chest, he really overpowered Keon. That's a pose that Keon has to work against some of these guys. But then again, he's not posing against Hadi or Derek. He's posing against the Mr. Olympia, Samson Dauda. So I give him credit on that. In the classic physique, you got Mike Sommerfeld, you got Wesley Vissers, and you had Ramon Dino. And I was impressed by all of them. But I think Ramon Dino has improved his posing. In the guest posing, he was hitting his front double biceps, he was hitting his back double biceps a lot better. And that was one of the only things that we could say about him. The back now looks bigger and the arms don't seem that overpowering. Ramon put on a show, Mike Sommerfeld, and I know Wesley Vissers, Matthew Grego, all those guys were there. Terrence Ruffin was at his best, even better than when he won. They're paying attention to Ramon because he put on a show. The Mr. Olympia is coming. It's going to be insane. You have to get your tickets right now. The pay-per-view is going to be on. My name is Tarek Elguindi. The season is on. The Mr. Olympia is coming. I'll see you next time.